My friend George is going on a solo trip for the first time in his life. I wanted to give him some tips of how to meet people, and then I thought I have so much to say, why don't I make a video about it? This video will be divided into two parts. In the first part, I'll teach you how I meet people, and on the second one, I'll tell you the stories of the people who really inspired me, and their stories forever stuck with me. And also, meet this guy. And also, meet this guy. Hi, Alma. Mwah. I might seem like a very outgoing and sociable person, which I kind of am, but I have tremendous anxiety when it comes to approaching people. I don't know, I'm probably scared that they're gonna turn me down, and I feel lonely, alone, and rejected, and I don't like that. Nobody does. But actually, that's not true. I do know people who can approach other people from across the street, and they're like, hey, do you wanna hike with us? We're gonna hike for 7 hours. And I'm like, you don't have filter? You just can invite anybody? Because for me, when it comes to traveling with somebody, I have like extra triple filter, and I wanna hike with right people. I'd rather hike alone or not hike it at all than be with wrong people. But anyway, it always turns out to be fun. But what I want to say is that I do understand if you feel like you're an introverted person and you don't like to talk to strangers. I get it. I've been there, but I think being in the right environment helps a lot, because I know that if I approach people in hostels or while traveling, I can never be misunderstood. They know what I mean, and we all been there. Anyways, let's start. I will start with, where is it? Couchsurfing. You might think that Couchsurfing is only for hosting people or having an accommodation. That's not true. There is a section where it shows you what kind of event is happening in that city or town that you're visiting. For example, if you're traveling in Paris, you can say, hey, this 1 week I'll be in Paris, and whoever wants to hang out, please let me know. And then a lot of people start texting you or sending you events. You can go through all these requests. If you feel like you only want to hang out with people who have reviews, that's totally okay. If it's your first time and you're anxious, you should definitely let the other person know, because everybody who has 200 reviews have done it for the first time, and they know the anxiety and they know how strange it can be for the first time. So you can be like, this is my first time, and even though you seem like a very nice person, I'd rather meet you in a public space or with your friend. Believe me, they're gonna understand, and they'll try their best to make the whole experience smooth and nice, because that's what they want. That's why people do couchsurfing. They want to show you around, they want to show you their city, their culture. You should trust it. You should go with it. Couchsurfing used to be free. Now it's $15 a year, which is completely worth it. Just skip that cocktail on a random Friday night and pay for the couchsurfing. Support the community and go out, meet people, and connect. All right. Number 2 is hostels, which is pretty much self-explanatory. I don't need to talk about it. But my trick is to stay in hostels with a free breakfast. Because what happens during the free breakfast is that people have a lot of time to sit down at the table, drink their cup of coffee or tea, and then think about how to spend the day. And most travelers and most backpackers have no idea what they're gonna do throughout the day. Some of them do, but most of them don't. And then what happens is that you eat or drink coffee, and then you discuss, hey, this is what I'm doing today. Do you wanna join too and do it with us? Sometimes you end up being part of the group with 15 or 14 people that go to the same place. We literally had to call 4 or 5 Ubers to get us to the destination. So that's beautiful, really. You meet so many people and you have so much fun. I do wanna say that hostels in developing countries are way better than hostels in Europe or America, because I think developing countries really try their best to introduce you to their culture, when, for example, Parisians don't really care if you enjoy Paris or not, because they're gonna have customers any given time of the year. A lot of hostels in Mexico had these free events such as Movie Monday or free shots or happy hours or pizza days. So you get the chance to connect to people and kind of stay friends forever on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Number 3, and kind of controversial, is dating apps. You can use dating apps to meet people while traveling. And also, a lot of dating apps right now have this section where you say that I'm not looking for a date, I'm looking for a friend. I would connect to somebody and then be like, I'm only here for a week. I don't look for anything romantic. I want to talk to somebody because I feel a little lonely. And they're like, yeah, sure, I'll show you around. And they showed me around and it was amazing. And we're kind of still friends. I follow their lives and they follow mine. Tinder served me really well. Seriously, like I know people have horrible experiences on Tinder, but I made a lot of friends. Stop it, you silly she's eating my microphone cover. So if you are in a hostel already and surrounded with all these travelers and you don't know how to approach people, you can start asking very simple question, and most commonly asked question in hostels is, where are you from? Sometimes you feel like you don't really belong in that group of people, or the things they're going to do are not the things that you want to do, and you can politely be like, hey Lola, I'm sorry I can't do it, I have some other plans, even though I have 0 plans. But you get my point. Like, if you don't feel like these people are your people and you really want to spend the day with them, don't go with that just because you feel lonely and alone. Being lonely is part of solo traveling, and you get used to it. Solo travelers are in search of themselves, their souls, their personality, the world. They're seeking the adventures and stories to tell, and then they are in a desperate need to be listened and to listen to you. I'm saying that a person who looks like I don't give a damn what's happening gives a damn, and they want to be approached. So don't feel shy. Go ahead and ask them out, or be like, hey, what are your plans today? There was one moment in Mexico City when I was supposed to go to the pyramids with 2 British girls, and I overslept and they left without me. I wanted to go with somebody and I didn't know anybody in the hostel, so I walked into the like a breakfast area and I was like, hey, I'm going to the pyramids, anybody wants to come? And I found 2 people, and then we ended up going together. So like, you can do that as well, right? You can do anything, there are no rules. The last tip that I can also give you is free walking tours. I've personally never met a person on a free walking tour and ended up being friends with, but that can happen to you. You can try it and let me know if it works. You know what else you can do? You can subscribe to this channel and like this video and help the algorithm to boost up the video, show it to a lot of people so they can watch it, because it's been really evil to me lately. Okay, now moving on to the next section. I'll start the second section by saying that I don't meet a lot of American backpackers out there. I think it has to do something with the educational system here, because it's a common sense that after the high school graduation, people go straight to college. And after the college, people have so much student loans that they have to get jobs to start paying for those debts. So they don't really have time to backpack for a year or 2 years to explore the world. But if I do meet long-term American travelers, most of them are military people who ended up being in a war, who are now veterans and get a lot of money from the government monthly basis. And I met at least 5 people like this in Mexico. 2 of them had really interesting stories and I wanted to share them with you. This first guy served in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the bomb exploded very, very close to him. He had his skin pretty much burnt completely and scars all over his face. Obviously, he cannot serve in the army anymore, and the government gives him $3,000 a month. So he left the country and he travels absolutely full time. So we were drinking and he got a little bit too drunk. We started talking. I told him I lived in the States. We started talking about the United States and the government and whatever. And then he opened up for some reason and he told me that he killed a lot of people in Afghanistan, almost 200 people, including children. And he said that it was okay. He said many, many times that it served the purpose and it was okay and he felt fine, and he would repeat it over and over again. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So watching him talk was very emotional. He was trying to find joy in this life, but also this trauma, it didn't go away. He lived with his past without digesting what happened. And the second guy that I met in San Cristobal was the complete opposite. He also served in the army and he also had a serious PTSD, but he was the one who went to therapy for 5 or 6 years, don't remember exactly. He also gets money from the government. He lives in Mexico. He studies and learns how to be a healer, how to be a massage therapist. He gives free massages and healing sessions and yoga sessions to people who want to get well, get better. He does not take any money. So it was interesting to see these 2 people, you know, one person who's in kind of like a denial. I mean, I don't want to psychoanalyze him. I'm not a psychologist. But he was in a denial by repeating, I'm fine, 5 times. Doesn't sound like you're fine. You know, remember that Ross moment in France when he's burning his hands and he's like, I'm fine? That's how it felt. And then this other person who's completely aware what he did, that it was awful, it was terrible, the worst experience of his life, but he grew out of it and he became a healer now. I have a huge respect to that person. The second story that I want to tell is also about an American. I don't know if you have seen This Is Us. In that show, there is this black guy who was adopted by white people and raised in a white family. And when he's already a grown-up man, he has a lot of questions about his ancestry, about the history of black people. He had this like a lot of questions about his identity. And this guy that I met in also Mexico City, he was in his 50s, also an adopted child of white hippies in California. And now he had this time to really understand who he was. Being 55 and in search of your soul is not that common. 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, I myself 27, it's more or less, common. You're young, you want to know who you are. And he was an amazing guy. We ended up chatting and I think I learned a lot from that person. The most important thing that I learned is that the search never ends. And the third person, who's my dearest friend now, and I cherish him and I love him very, very much. I also met him in San Cristobal. He grew up in Germany and 2 women raised him, and you could definitely see that feminine energy in him, which was beautiful. He's in tune with the nature. He loves people around him. He loves trees and plants and food and animals. We also ended up chatting a lot, and he's also very smart. And he told me that in the beginning of the pandemic, he bought some cryptocurrency for 3,000 euros. I think in July 2021, he sold that for, wait for it, 300,000 euros. Normal people like me, you, and everybody around me would buy a house with that money or invest somewhere or put the money on their children's college account or whatever. He did none of those things, and he planted an entire forest in northern Italy. While he was traveling in there, he met this old couple who owned a big chunk of land, and they probably loved his energy and how down-to-earth person he is, and they gifted him really big land. He thought that he owned them, this forest. So he bought thousands of pine trees and he planted a forest in northern Italy, and he fulfilled his life goal or dream that he had. I don't know, man. The guy can die in peace. This is the story that absolutely inspired me. He's an amazing human being. I love him so much. Can't wait to see him again somewhere. I think the main takeaway from this video is that people do want to be approached, and don't be shy and go out there and be like, hey, I want to be your friend. They would love that, really. I would love that if you do that to me. And the second one is that you should listen to the stories that people tell you down the road, and you should also tell your stories and be as vulnerable as you can when you meet somebody new, because you're never gonna see them again. You're not losing anything. This is your time. Use all of them as your therapists. Be like, hey, this is what I do wrong. This is what I cry about. This is what bothers me, or this is what makes me happy. Be honest, be happy, be sad. That's what we wanna hear. Your honest story. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Mwah. Love you.
3, 2, 1, go. 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 3, 2, 1.
Both me and you at the same time.
Oh, I think I cut myself.